Hey, how y'all doing out there in YouTube land? This is Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. Well, it's late tonight. I got home late, and I promised this video tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and try to whip it out really quick. It's really late. What's up, sweetie? Let Grandpa do the video. Let Grandpa do the video. It's my girl. But anyway, I'm going to try to whip this video out. These are fighting knives. This is my update to my fighting knife collection. It was requested by Jeremy 2. He wanted to know what are the best fighting knives for Ukraine. And that's what we're going to go through real quick. Most of these knives you guys have already seen in my previous fighting knife video. But I'm just going to run through this really quick. Up first is my 3-snap or 3 retention. Good for an airborne ranger or somebody who's a paratrooper. Kabar, Japanese Tanto style Kabar, with a rubberized handle, Creighton handle. Absolutely love it. This one has a excuse me, has an 8-inch blade, made in USA. It's a 1095 chromium blade, CV blade. Excellent knife. Really great for penetration. I think it's better for penetration than, let's say, American style Tanto. This one is one that I don't think I've shown you guys. It has a double edge, or a full one edge on one side, and the other side's halfway sharpened. It's got what I would call a bayonet style blade with the swedge that's sharpened. It's meant to be like a dagger. This is an M3 combat knife. These are no longer available. I think OKC still might be making them. I'm not sure. I know there's knockoffs of them, but I wouldn't want a knockoff. I'd want an American-made one. This one's made by Camillus in USA. It's got a leather stacked handle, 1095, not CV blade, but just straight up 1095 blade with the leather stacked handle and a steel pommel and a steel guard, leather sheath. This one right here is the one I got to replace the one that I lost that my father gave me from his World War II K-bar, USMC K-bar. This is a 1095 CV blade. 1095 CV was very popular. It was made by Sharon Steel. Sharon Steel's no longer around. And it had many different names. Cold Steel called it Carbon V or Carbon 5. Cold Steel used to have their American-made knives made by Camillus. This is the General that I have to replace my father's hunting knife. And this one is the one that he gave me that was his original knife. You know, it was a copy of it anyway. The original one I lost when I was about 16 years old. This is the one that he replaced this one with when he gave me this knife, was the General. Because he wanted a knife that wouldn't rust. And as you can see, it's basically a civil, I would call it a civilian K-bar. It's made with 420HC, Boss heat treated steel, stainless steel. The pommel's aluminum. The pommel's aluminum and the guard is aluminum. The handle's made out of a certain kind of a plastic. I think it's called phenolic or something like that. As opposed to this one having a steel pommel and steel guard and leather stacked handles. This one has a 1095 CV blade too, if I didn't mention it. This one has a 1095 CV blade also. Has a leather stack handle, steel pommel, steel guard, and 1090 CV blade. It's got the rat's tail. All these ones with the handles like this have rat's tails. And they're pinned. That's the way they used to make these combat blades. Actually, they still make them like that. This one's a fairly rare one because they only made these for a limited time with leather stacked handles. The way that you can get these now is with the Creighton handle, or the rubberized handle. I'd recommend all these knives to soldiers. This one right here is a model 44 EK. It's a double-edged dagger. This is the one that the General Patton carried in World War II. This is a recreation of it by Kabar. It has FRN handle scales and a full tang design. Very strong knife. Probably one of the strongest daggers I've ever seen. Absolutely love it. This one right here is my newest EK knife. I got this one to be a utility knife to go with my new bug out setup I'm going to set up. I plan on carrying it horizontally, either around my back or cross draw. Made out of 1095, full tang construction, and just like the other EK, has FRN handle scales. This one right here is the IX cold steel. It's made with CPM 3V steel. Very thick, saber ground Tonto blade. Creighton handle, steel skull crusher, and guard. 9-inch blade. This one right here is a 7.5-inch version of that same knife. It's called a Magnum 2. I can't remember the name of the series. I know it's a Knight something series. Saber ground blade, Creighton handle, steel guard, and skull crusher pommel. These are the modern ones I would recommend. Next one up is one of my favorite ones. This one in the Sam A version is one that I actually carry sometimes. It's made just like the other two I showed you, with the Creighton handle, steel pommel, and skull crusher, with 3V blade with DLC coating. I don't think you can get these anymore because the new ones that they're making them without the DLC coating, and I wouldn't consider those combat knives because in order for a knife to be a combat knife, to me, a proper soldier's knife, it needs to be coated. It needs to be an anti-glare knife. This is one of the original knives that Cold Steel used to make. It was made by Camillus Cutlery. It has the carbon V or carbon 5 steel, carbon steel, which is actually 1095 Crow Van, or CV. Same steel that they use in the K-bars. Beautiful knife. This is a beautiful combat knife. Saber ground Tonto. You can still find these every once in a while. Every once in a while collectors are selling these, and they usually don't sell them for too much either. They're still very affordable. And I would highly recommend them because that's a super tough knife. It's USA made. I always like USA made best. This one right here is a Warcraft. Now they don't make these Warcrafts no more. I think the new Warcrafts are made with Samurai steel and they're not coated. So I don't consider those combat blades no more, even though they still have the name Warcraft. To me, a proper Warcraft knife needs to be coated. This one's DLC coated. It's a 3V blade, saber ground. This is a good all-around knife. It has G10 handle scales, full tang, exposed tang construction. Awesome knife, super tough knife. Highly recommend it. Has a 7-inch blade. I was always told by my pops that the best blades that the Marines recommend for close quarter combat are from 6 to 9 inches. And that has to do with penetration and being able to get in contact with organs, you know, important organs that keep people alive, like the heart and the lungs. This one right here is a Kizlyer. It's a Russian Federation knife, made in Russia. It's a Russian soldier's knife. The reason why I have this one out here, even though this is like a video for people who are serving against Russia and Ukraine, because I think this is probably the most available knife to a Ukrainian soldier. Even more so than any of these others, because I don't know how easy it is for Ukrainians to get American knives or cold steel knives. And I'm willing to bet that there's a lot of these available in Ukraine. Ukraine's right next to Russia, and I'm sure Russia has sold many of these types of knives to Ukrainians over the years. This one has a AUS 8 stainless steel blade, and I'm not sure if it's a Japanese stainless steel or if the steel comes from Russia. It's a full tang construction, very heavy duty knife, very strong knife, 4mm blade with an overmolded handle, with a strengthened tip. So it's a very durable knife. It's got a hollow ground blade. This is the knife that Tops copied in order to make their Wild Pig Hunter. The Wild Pig Hunter is a 13 and a quarter inch knife with an 8-inch blade, I believe. And it's made after the first version of this. This is a downsized version of the original version for soldiers, because the soldiers wanted a lighter weight knife. The other one was too big and heavy. And like I will say over and over again, it looks really cool to have the big giant knives and stuff like that, but big giant knives are also big and heavy. And when you're a foot soldier carrying a bunch of gear, it's not always great to have something that adds to your gear that's really heavy. Sometimes you want to keep it light. Remember, your primary weapon is not your knife. It's your gun and explosives and everything else. And here's my BK9 combat Bowie. I'm finished with it. Now it's ready for duty. I got my fire steel all set up in a 3/8 by 4-inch fire steel and fire steel holder and sheath. It was all set up for me by just the sheath maker 8 on eBay. Absolutely love this knife and absolutely love this sheath. It's got a .093 thickness sheath and fire steel holder. It's beautiful with the dangler. That's exactly the way I wanted it. Prepare Mind 101 says that the best way to carry these is with a dangler. Absolutely love this. Beautiful knife. And I put on the micarta scales on it. These are the Kabar micarta scales. They're not aftermarket. I got them on Amazon for 35 bucks, if interested. Well, these are the knives I would recommend for soldiers. These would be my first choices, and for soldiers in Ukraine, I would have to go with this one, because I think this is probably the most available. It's got a leather sheath with a plastic insert that protects the sheath from the blade. It's got a nice big drainage hole. In Russia and Ukraine, they get a lot of moisture and snow. So I think a stainless steel blade is a good idea. Beautiful knife. An AUS 8 is easy to resharpen. So this would be a great knife, for a soldier if you have to resharpen it in the field. And this knife feels lighter than all these other big knives. They're about the same size. And it feels really, really good in hand. It feels really good. It makes me want to try out the bigger version. But these knives are extremely hard to get in the United States. I think this might be the last one that was available in the United States. I bought it on Amazon, and it was the last one they had. The person that sells them said he won't be back until 2030. So I don't know how long, it'll probably be until the Russian-Ukraine conflict's over before these are available again in the United States. Well, I hope Jeremy too gets his answers from this video. I'm going to go ahead and put it out right now. I wanted to get it out by 9 o'clock, but I didn't get home in time. And right now it's almost 11 o'clock. So it probably won't be out and available until about 11:30. It's May 24th, 2022. Peace out, Stiletto. I hope everybody's doing good out there. And Ukraine, I love y'all. Stay strong, stay up, and don't give up. Don't let dictator Vladimir Putin mess with your country. You're doing the right thing. I know he's destroying it or whatever, but we'll help you rebuild it. We'll help you rebuild it. Peace out, Stiletto.